Like a seed pushing through soil, freedom of expression is born in quiet moments. Before expression becomes art, it must first become courage. Expression is a responsibility to reflect the truth of one's time and to pass it forward. In this documentary, we'll explore where the following musicians' expression and freedom began. We first spoke to Mr. Ndlela, who reminds us that expression is not defined by skill alone, but the permission that we grant ourselves to explore sound without restraint.
Now, I'm a man who is supposed to write the music. I really struggled because currently, there's the campaign that is running currently with the purple color. Yes. Already, if you read on Facebook or social media, you'll find that where we are supposed to really collaborate as people and fight these ills that are killing the society, these campaigns tend to divide us instead. That if I put on the purple color, some people will be like, but you men are the perpetrators of this. Why do you pretend like you care? You don't put the color purple, again, you are not supporting the women's struggle. So it's always a problem as a man. We find ourselves, most of us who really want to collaborate in these campaigns. So here is a work that reflects on what men like myself have done. How do I then express the pain of women that they suffered through the hands of men? As a man, how do I express that? That was very difficult, I promise you. It took time like convincing myself, couldn't write for quite some time. But because I was chasing deadlines, I had to try and meditate on this, read the text, reread it, try to understand, up until I think that's just the ability of being an artist, where I had to really forget about myself, that I'm a man, these things were committed by men. Let me just be a human and try by all means to approximate the pain that women go through when these things happen. So as an artist, there are moments like that where you are placed at the center of such a space where you feel you don't belong, but you have a responsibility of expressing what other people are doing. And for me, that's the role of us as artists.
And for legends like Mr. Hotsticks Mabuse, freedom is an ongoing journey.
Says something else, my right has something else. That created word. The word freedom is very complex. In its nature, and people are always speaking about freedom. But we've never really considered asking ourselves, what is freedom? Why is it such an expression that everybody feels it's such an important word? How do we describe freedom? How do we, in our own little space, create our own freedom?
Freedom also lives in personal story, in the spaces where artists find their own rhythm, their own language, and their own pulse.
I think freedom of expression is being able to actually speak about the things that matter to you the most. It's being allowed the space to also process things as you say them, because some of us are not necessarily internal processes, we're external processes. I've found that I begin to understand something as I hear myself say it. And sometimes it's not in front of a lot of people, sometimes it's just between me and my wife, or me and a good friend of mine, but that freedom to actually come to understand what I'm talking about as I speak it, I think that's what freedom of expression is for me.
The quiet persistence of learning helps Sere to find who he truly is through sound.
The biggest thing in my life that's an issue for me is myself. Um, Sometimes I feel like I'm my own biggest enemy, because I'm like, I should stick to this type of music because I've been working on this for the past 14 years, and I'm like, it's too late now for me to change. I'm in it for too long. I've been doing this for too long, and I'm too old, even though I'm not, It's just like that mentality when you've been working on something for such a long time, and you get to a certain point in your career where you're like, or not even career, even like studies, where you're just like, yeah, now it's too late to switch up. But I've kind of changed that way of thinking, especially this year. Just trying to branch out into other, styles of music, not just performing live or composing, but also performing for myself, like for meditation. Sometimes I just like to keep music for myself, and just be able to play music freely without even thinking about it. Because I'm a very critical person, like, of my own work. But yeah, I think in a nutshell, that's kind of like freedom of expression, just being able to explore without worry.
Expression is not given, it is found, shaped, protected, and ultimately shared. And freedom is more than a right, it is a living force.